Hi everybody, Jim here. Hope everyone's doing well. I'm planning to do mini lessons through book 1 and book 2 and book 3. So if you're interested in that journey, feel free to follow me. Today we're going to simplify the lessons. I'm calling this lesson 2 because I made one video already, and I'm just giving some key points if you're going to be going through this series. It's a really good series, and oftentimes I end up teaching out of this book depending on the learner. It's pretty mainstream. We're going to look at page 10, it's left hand, and then we're going to go to page 11, and then I'll have time to do page 12 today. These are golden nuggets. They might be simple, but if you do the work, then it'll pay off later. Let's begin, and we're going to just take a look at the music, and I'm going to have some of it on the screen so you can see, but many of you might have the book already. You want to orientate yourself with the left hand. You want to make sure that you're aware where middle C is. And one quick thing that I like to suggest is to make sure that not only do you find middle C, but you also take your hand off of it and see how quick you can find it. Because a lot of times learners get overwhelmed and they can't find where their hands go. So just a few little drill practices. And then also if you're doing the C position, G position, the same thing. So keep that in mind. All right, and then really study, again, this is middle C, and then study where this is on the staff. Once you study that and give yourself just, 20, 30 seconds, it doesn't change. It's pretty easy. All right, so they decide to play nice. They have the note heads written in here, which is great. And then there's, I don't know where the link is, but you can definitely hear it, and I'll play through it, and I'll give some tips on when you're playing. Don't get used to the note heads. Make sure that you can name these pretty soon without looking at just the letter. Try to understand the spaces. And when we get to page 12, that will be important. So when we're learning, the first thing we want to do is understand the physical notes on the staff and then the physical playing. But then also what's really important is to understand the rhythm. And this is a concept that I've been noticing a lot of adult learners run into. So we're going to go to page 11 for now, and then I'm going to play through some of this. I'm going to zoom in because these are simple notes, and they do a good job introducing the names and what this is called. All right, and they're showing the beats here. So rhythm is just duration. The beat is the pulse. What happens, a lot of learners, we try to wait for a beat. We try to feel it externally. It's all about internal. So one thing that's not clear here, we're going to just put a 4 here, and we're just going to think 4 beats per measure. And when I write the beats in, I encourage students to make sure that the beats are throughout the measure. For instance, I'll demonstrate this the correct way. Okay. I put beat 4 here because that's an increment of time. A lot of students, which makes sense if you're coming from different realms besides music, they know that the half note gets 2 beats. So they might just put beat 4 here. But it's really important that you understand the beat is stretched out through the measure, because that's going to help you with coordination issues, understanding, and all that. Another thing that learners do, which is good at first, but you want to try to jump away from it, they'll just say, okay, this gets 2 beats. But we're thinking about the phrasing, the beats per measure. So we're thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the bar line separates music into measures, 1, 2, 3, 4. And notice I'm writing in pencil, old school here. Gotta use pencil because it's so important that we redo our work. And then the same thing, you always want to analyze, even if it's simple. And just for being an A student here, we want to write everything in. And then the whole note, they did it well, showing you how the beats are spread out through the measure. You'd be surprised on how many learners don't do this, even with a lot of coordination. All of these things are just little important tips that will help you grow stronger. And then what I like to do is just be able to clap the rhythm out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Second bar. 1, 2. I'll do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And depending where you are as a learner, I might give you some other rhythm goals. Sometimes a student will just play a note on the piano, which is really good. And you want to be aware of that measure because you're going to want to hear that as 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you hear how I held that down? So I'm really internalizing. These are the cracks. So when someone's getting to like halfway through this book or book 2, if they don't understand about feeling the beat and then knowing the difference between beat and rhythm, they run into a lot of coordination problems. Okay, so in here they give a great outline, and it's really simple. A lot of learners will just want to play through it and get to the next bar, but you want to understand their curriculum and their design on how to do this. It's just an extra minute or two, and I'm going to play these after I go through everything mentally with you guys. Page 12 I call the golden nugget because we're learning about the grand staff, and I'm getting used to this camera position, so hopefully you guys can kind of see it well. This is super important. In piano world, yes, we have 88 keys. Even if you have a smaller keyboard, you're doing a lot of work between the bass clef and then the treble clef. And they do a very simple job here. We're doing 5-note finger position, 5-note finger position, right hand place, left hand place. And you want to really memorize where this C is in relation to the keyboard. Super important. When you start reading music, once you do this kind of work, you're good to go. I have a bunch of worksheets that I'm building with charts like this, so if you're interested, let me know, no rush. They do introduce the 4/4 here. I personally think, and it's not a big deal, to at least put a 4 here just to orientate yourself with that. It's not too much stress, but it's not wrong. I get what they're doing. And then here, the top numbers, what we're really focusing on, 4 beats per measure, as I was demonstrating. And then you can just memorize a lot of the music when we start off with is quarter note equals 1 beat. This is also known as 4/4 is also known as common time because a lot of pieces are written in common time. We celebrate the grand staff on page 12 with the right hand first and then the left hand. So we've gone over notes. It's easy playing, but what happens when new learners start playing? So let's get to the piano. We're going to look at this one first. Actually, no, excuse me. I think there we go. Page 10 it is. All right, so with page 10, learners will first orientate themselves where they are on the keyboard. Oh, excuse me. It's all good with the candle here. It's my good luck candle. We have our middle C. Check your hand position. That's great. And then we're just going to simply play. And a lot of learners might do this. All right, so we're playing the right notes. Did you notice how I'm exaggerating, how I'm looking down at the keys and looking at the music? And then did you notice how I'm hesitating a little bit? A lot of learners will go G, F, E, D, C, and then you're starting up again. So they'll give a natural pause. That's okay when you're playing, but now let's make it a goal. The first thing is, if you want to get familiar with reading music, you're going to want to make sure that you're playing where you're very confident with your hand position. This type of exercise is all about kinesthetics. You should be able to feel the keys. You do not need to look at the music, look at your hands. What that tells me is you haven't had enough training on the C 5-finger position. My fingers are not moving. They are there in that 5-finger position. And what that means is I have confidence. So now I'll play it as a teacher. 3 and looking at the music. Of course, if you can make that a goal, but maybe you're going slower, maybe you're slowing down a little bit, hands are flattening, that's fine because it's only a week or a refresher or you're brand new to it. So think about having confidence with the hand position. That's the first goal. The second goal, if you can, keep it even, keep the sound even. And we could go all day as educators. We can tell you now, do this, do this, do this, and that can get overwhelming. But always think about one thing and master that in the next thing. If you can look at the music and you have confidence with your hand position, that's an A+. And then if you think your hands are naturally curved and you're not kind of flailing, because that's where you lose your hand position, we're afraid to make a wrong note. So we're kind of like, we can't do that. So now I'm going to go to the second line. It starts with the low C, the 5-finger. And then the last line is a combination of lines 1 and 2. C's twice. And again, I'm just demonstrating in a flowing manner, but if you're playing it where it's slower, a little hesitant, but you really feel confident, you're doing a great job. Because I've been teaching for a long time and I've seen a lot of students kind of, pigeonhole themselves and start comparing, well, other people can do this. All right, so I've already talked about the rhythm, but I'm giving you extra credit. And one thing is, if you're still here, if you could hit the like button, it helps out the channel. Thank you. I'm gonna go ahead and just now, this is an advance. This is for those who are listening and still with me. I'm gonna go ahead and play middle C. That's gonna be the rhythm. All right, I'm gonna count 2, 3, 4, third measure. 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth measure, 2, 3, 4, advance. Left hand's gonna keep the beat. Right hand the rhythm. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, for some of us, that's gonna be brand new, and you're like, what's going on here? Keep in mind, just understand that the rhythm is long and short sounds. The beat is a steady pulse, okay? They're different, but they have to work together. And if you keep at that, it'll get easier. Orally is different because we're going down to there. We have some skipping going on. And I realized I didn't set up this book on this section, but most of you have your own book. It's all good. You can still benefit from the basics of the lesson. So they have lyrics in there because a lot of piano players want to sing, and a lot of music has lyrics, but some students will just do the lyrics and kind of sing it. Depending where you're at, that's fine, but we're really trying to get notes and the piano book down with reading. So here I go, orally. I'm just going to go slow. We got a half note coming up. And 1, 2, 3, second line, and 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Quick tip: if you're with your finger positions good and you feel like you can coordinate that, the 5 to the 2, and that's going to be tricky. So break it down. Just work on that measure. The first measure, 2, because this might be the first time you're asking your fingers to do this kind of movement. It's okay. You can go that slow. Because I'm on YouTube, I'm not going to go that slow, but that is more than fine. I can sit through a lesson and watch a student get it and play that slow, and I'm happy because they're doing what? They're learning. The other thing I wanted to mention is, did you notice when I was playing, I'm like, oh, we got a whole note coming up. We have a half note. When you become a music reader, you want to, when you're ready, to slowly glance ahead and know what's going on. All right, so I'm going to turn page 12, and I'm going to remember to turn page 12 for you guys too. We have the grand staff, we have the time signature, and I'm just going to go ahead and finish the lesson with playing on the grand staff and then give some other tips. Some of the things that I'm leaving out because it's in the book, and you only can get so much on YouTube, and we try to do a good job giving all the knowledge, but we have to be aware of time of recording and editing. All right, so we got middle C. In these pages, you really want to get down because soon you're not going to have the pitches written in the note heads, and do not write the pitches in. Please don't do that. Okay, you heard it. So we're going to now practice our hand position. Okay, right hand on middle C, the 5-finger position, that's our 1, and then our left hand an octave below, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and try to play. And some learners ask me, Jim, should I have both hands on the keyboard? Definitely. A lot of times when I'm teaching, I just go ahead and take this hand away so the learner can really focus on that. But it's definitely a good habit. All right, here I go. And it's also good to take it away and see if you can find it while you're playing. But I give a lot of teeny advanced tips because I'm a geek. Here I go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. We got a half note coming up, and 3, 4. Now we're just going to go down. This is easy. I have confidence. 4 and 1. I know I'm going to the left hand. What might happen? I'll tell you in a second. 2, 3, 4. Second bar. 2. Bar is slang for measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Common problems that I see. 1, students don't take the repeat. And so the repeat there that could have been introduced a bit better. The repeat in this case, if you don't see them in the music, it's understood that you just go back to the beginning. All right, so keep that in mind. Another common thing is when we are going to the left hand, right before the left hand, we're playing middle C, and that's a thumb. Some learners will start with the thumb in the left hand because we are thumb in the right and then it's 5 down here. And that can be tricky for new learners. So hang with it, you'll get there. Thank you so much. I'm gonna have fun doing these lessons. It'll be interesting if you follow along because obviously everything progresses and that's the goal. As we go through the journey, we enjoy it. So I have some other things I want to talk about in some other videos in regards to practicing and learning at an older age and all that good stuff. So thank you for watching the whole video. And if you're interested in the way I teach and I add some humor in, feel free to subscribe and check out some other videos. Bye for now. Take care.